In acting, and more particularly method acting as understood by Stanislavski, Lee Strasberg, and many others, we improvise in the scene and in character. Now, a lot of people look at the term improvisation and they traditionally know it to mean that you just make up the words and sort of ad lib. But this is not what it means in acting terms. In acting terms, we have a script, but we improvise within the script, meaning we follow our thoughts, impulses, and emotions. We don't just do the same thing every night. Now, yes, we do many things in a similar manner, but even when you do something the same way, every time you go to do it, it can be fresh. Like if you think of a comedian, they're telling the same joke night and night again. But sometimes they approach it from a different angle, a different tone of voice, or they just discover something new about it. And they do it every time as if it was the first time. And the payoff is, of course, people laugh. But in acting, this also occurs because we have done all the work on our character, how our character thinks, how they speak, how they move. And every night you go to perform it on stage or even in front of the camera on different takes. You have to allow yourself to discover, because that's where real creation lies. If you're just going to do it the same way, it's going to be boring, not just to the audience, but to you yourself as the actor. But when you really allow your thoughts, impulses, and emotions to inform how you're going to do it, then your acting will be full of discovery and a real creative goldmine. Because let's not forget, this art form of ours, acting, it is a live art form. Now, yes, it's in front of the camera as well, but it's also happening live in front of the camera. If you're a painter, you have weeks and you have months to paint and paint over what you painted before. But when you're acting, the painting is the work that you've done beforehand. But when the moment comes to do it, you trust that it's there, and then you truly create and paint and improvise in the moment. And this is really hard for actors to do, because to actually do it means to let go of what you know. And there's nothing scarier to human beings in general than letting go of what they don't know. The unknown is one of the most terrifying things in the world. People would rather go skydiving or bungee jumping than get on a stage, let alone taking a risk on the stage, not knowing what the outcome will be. But what's the worst that can happen? Because at the end of the day, it's not like we're saving lives. We're just acting. So it's not that dramatic. But when you really do it, then you start to open up a world of creativity, and your acting can keep expanding and expanding. And this is not just true in acting. This is true in life. If you stick to what you know in life, your life is just going to stay the same. But if every day you try something different, even if it's going to the gym, if you say, I usually do 20 push-ups, and then the next day you do 30 push-ups, you will have gone beyond what you know you can do, because you will have really pushed yourself. But luckily in acting, you don't necessarily break a sweat in the process of doing it. And it goes even deeper than this, because following an impulse is not something that you're going to know beforehand. It's not like you just stand there and then wait for the impulse or the thought to tell you, oh yes, go stage left, or, flirt instead of threaten in this particular moment of the scene. It's something which you just have to do without even thinking. But that only works when you've done all the work on the character before. But then you just got to go for it. And then afterwards, you can examine it and you can say, yeah, actually, that worked. But I promise you, if you have done the proper work on the character and you just go for it, 99.999% of the time, it's going to be artistic gold, creativity in action. So I really compel you to take this on board and think about how you can play around with the text.